Live from virtual Brooklyn, we welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where tonight we get set to kick off race number 14 of the Speed Cup Series from the Michigan International Speedway. My name is Nolan Rempel, and as always, I'll be bringing you all of the coverage here tonight from start to finish of tonight's 2-mile race as we hunt our way closer and closer towards playoff season. And of course, the Speed Cup Series' current 2023 campaign. It is bound to be an entertaining race tonight. The championship border still looking virtually unchanged. The biggest change of note, Cameron Rich has apparently won his way into the playoffs. Still not sure that's going to stand. Cameron Rich, of course, filled in for Drew Eisenman as of last week. Eisenman, though, back in the car here tonight in Brooklyn, and we'll be able to see what he can do around the 2-mile speedway. It's going to be an intense race for all drivers involved, and at this point we're going to have just 3 races to go after tonight until the round of 16. We'll kick it off with a pair of road courses, swinging on over to the Brickyard in Indiana, then of course back to upstate New York to Watkins Glen International, and then we swing right back down south where it started at the start of the season for another trip around the Daytona International Speedway to end out the regular series season. But for now, here from Michigan International Speedway, we do have qualifying getting set to get itself underway as all racers are looking to put themselves up with some decent times on the board here in this one. Not a lot of time as it stands. They've got about 3 minutes to see what these guys are going to be able to do and put themselves up towards the top of the boards as best as they possibly can. So with all of that set in mind, let's take a ride on board some of these drivers as we take ourselves around for a couple of laps around the Michigan International Speedway. And across the line, it is going to be 4th place for the likes here of Randy McKinney to put himself up towards the top of the timing charts. A blistering time then for that number 9 machine, but still a lot of drivers looking to put down some laps. Carlton Charles currently sits down in 20th. He's going to get set to come across start-finish line this time by. Welcome the driver out of Wyndham, Maine, doing this. He's going to fire it across the start-finish at the number 27. Only good enough, though, for 16th place on the boards. That's going to, I believe, do it for everybody that's currently out on track trying to make a qualifying effort, as no racers are out on the racetrack on active hot laps. Everybody so far is just winding things down after some intense qualifying efforts. You see Rick Wishon working his way around the racetrack, just trying to put down some extra practice laps as, hey, you may as well, especially when you've got about a minute left to qualify. Might be going for his pit entry attempt, which, again, not a bad idea at all, but he's just going to fire that one around the high sign of 3 and 4. And obviously will not have that time logged. His qualifying effort is already complete. Only one racer has opted not to qualify, that racer being the number 92 of Tim Branson and his Chevrolet. Caught up in a couple of incidents down at the Richmond Raceway 1 week ago, and Branson is going to be looking to see if he can't get himself potentially a bit more sorted over the course of the evening here in this one. But again, we've got 15 seconds left on the clock here in qualifying, and we are almost ready to go racing for the Speed Cup Series out of Brooklyn, Michigan, for race number 14 of this 2023 campaign. It's been an exciting couple of weeks since we came on for the Speed Cup Series, and we're looking forward to only having this series get more and more intense as time moves along. Qualifying is complete. Your starting grid is going to look a little something like this, with Anthony Musatti for Badger Racing starting on the pole with a 38.783. Marty Plute from Maxgrafix Racing will be bringing it up in the number 2 spot. Ryan Dingler from Badger Race will be in 3rd, with Matt Cherry from Next Level Motorsports in 4th. Christopher Darley from Maxgrafix Racing going to be in 5th. Randy McKinney going to be out of New York in the number 6 spot. Holden McGill for Badger Race is going to be in 7th. Doug Milner also for MGR going to be in 8th, with Grant Peterson for Badger Racing in 9th. Isotech Enterprises, Drew Eisenman going to be down in the number 10 spot to round to the top 10. Devin Pyrock is in 11th, and out of the Midwest, it is Josh Emerson to bring up row number 6. Row 7 holds Jeff Wyatt for Old Guy Racing. Rick Wishin out of the Mid-South going to be in the number 14 spot. Stan Hausman for MGR going to be in 15th, with Cool Runnings Racing's Carlton Charles going to be in 16th. Michael Mooney for OGR going to be in the 17th spot, with Mark McFadden for Jawbone Motorsports down in 18th. Josh McDougall is in 19th, with Ben Mashburn for MGR in 20th. Dylan Smith, the last driver to put down a qualifying effort, almost a second and a half behind your pole sitter for Cool Runnings Racing, to be down in 21st, with the Californian of Tim Branson rounding out the tail end of your field. So that's your pack of 22 cars that are all lined up and ready to go. So as we get set to fire them off, we're going to listen to the sound of these cars roar as Brooklyn, Michigan gets set to come to life. All cars have gridded on up. We work our way down the back straightaway for the final time before we get set for green flag racing here tonight. It's going to be an intense race ahead of everybody tonight. Draft is going to be everything, as is tire management. So easy to burn the front wheels off of the cars here at the Michigan International Speedway. And we've had a lot of good races so far here in 2023 all across Green Flag TV. We're hoping for another good one here tonight. The pace car is going to pull down and into pit road. And with that, it's time to get this party started. Thank you for joining us on Green Flag TV. Green Flag is in the air. We're underway in the Great North. Trouble already on the front straightaway for Anthony Musatti. He's going to tumble all the way to the tail end of this field. Second wreck in a row, and we've got another one hard to the inside wall as Ryan Dingler body slams off the inside barrier, rebounds up into traffic, but no caution because of where he is located. But the engine is destroyed on the Hex Armor number 8, and that's going to be effectively a race over. Matt Trable inherited the race lead as we hightail it down the back straightaway. Second race in a row, though, where Matt Cherry finds himself in some big trouble. Dingler finally pulled it off to the side, and it looks like he's going to be calling it quits. He's going to jump the tail end. Cherry will lead lap number 2. And this is what ended up happening. This is all going to be coming on off of turn number 4 here, down to the front straightaway. Started with Anthony Musatti, and I believe this may very well have been friendly fire. It was a bit of friendly fire. Musatti comes off the wall, and Ryan Dingler just gets caught up in the mix of this here as he's going to try to get himself back sorted, and might have gotten a bit of help there. Slogged inside, and that's a huge hit into the inside wall for Ryan Dingler, who finds himself down and out of the fight early on. Cherry pulling up a 0.4 of a second lead over Marty Plute, whereas Christopher Darling and Morris sit tucked in line just behind. We fire it back down the back straightaway, where you've got now Micah Mooney and Doug Milliner side by side for the number 7 spot. Mooney going to pull clear from the outside shelf. Here comes Doug Milliner, though, charging back to the bottom. Musadi trying to regain some ground on the top, and that's also Grant Peterson you see in the mix as we work down the back straightaway for lap number 465. Contact again! That's going to send Stan Hausman around! Hausman bobbles on the racetrack, still trying to save it. Is the number 88 of Mooney, excuse me. As we're going to somehow recover that one coming out of turn number 4. An intense first few laps from Michigan International Speedway. These guys never know when to quit. They never tend to settle down from one week to the next. We look a bit further up to Pyrog, trying to work for the high side of the 73 of Josh Emerson. McDougall, make that Eisenman right in front of them. Drew Eisenman back into the car for the number 77 as he tries to hightail it down the front straight, or back straightaway into turn number 3. All the while, the fight is on for 4th. Doug McKinney trying to make a move on the inside of Holden McGill for 4th. McGill going to tuck in line for the 5th spot. Martin Plute has caught Matt Cherry as they work down to turn number 1, but Cherry going to pull clear. Working the back straightaway. It is an intense fight we've got at the moment. Here's another look at what happened to Ryan Dingler. This is coming out of the front straightaway. And a bit of contact with Mooney. That's a heavy, heavy whack into that inside barrier. Even in the real world, we've seen a few nasty hits there over the last several years. One of the reasons we're lucky this is just a game, as McGill looks to the inside of McKinney. McKinney working to the top shelf of the Ford Mustang. All the while, Christopher Darling now started to drive away from these guys a little bit as a result of all of this on-track battling. Christopher Darling, though, not able to pull away, I think, as clear as he might like in his Maxgrafix Toyota Camry, as McGill going to try to hunt for the bottom now and make that move for the final podium position. McGill on the bottom, Darling up on top. He's got McKinney and Grant Peterson in the fray as well. As one by one, we start to gradually work our way through the laps. I think we've managed to escape that early race carnage that we saw. That said, it's never too far away. McGill and McKinney still trying to fight it out side by side. This is one of the closest fights we've got on the race course. And it's going to get a little bit tighter as they almost make contact down to turn 1. The 9 of McKinney trying to fight through that outside lane, but you got the Mahindra Camry down to the bottom of Grant Peterson, looking to spoil the party. You can see the run that you could get off that outside lane. McGill had no speed on the bottom there, down the back straightaway. We work through turn number 3 and 4. McGill back to the inside. He's going to get into Christopher Darling that time by. That scares Peterson on the racetrack as we hightail it down the front straightaway once again. I told you it doesn't ever take too much to create some chaos, and we just saw what could be a bone of contention for later on in the race. And that's all allowed for Doug Milliner to poke his hat into the ring now. See Pyrog and Eisman now working in the midst of this group as well. They split McGill 3 wide down the front stretch on lap number 9. All the while, we got fights going on in the background here, and Josh Emerson gets into the outside wall, and he'll lose 2 to Jeff White and Ben Mashburn coming down the front straightaway. Behind Rick Wisham, making the move on Emerson now for 15th, going around the outside. Tim Branson in the fray as well. Branson will fire around the high side in his NOS Energy Drinks Toyota. Chevrolet, excuse me. Working to the back straight away. Still a smooth run for all of these guys here further down the field. Oh, trouble! Hard into the inside wall. Goes Dylan Smith. Anthony Musadi also involved, and the caution flag will fly on lap number 11. Caution flag is out. Unfortunately, not where we were hoping it would come out at this early in the race. Here's a look at what happened. This is Musadi and Smith, and Musadi just tracks up, gets into the side of the Jordan 44, and again, a hefty shot to the inside barrier. Oh, got into the K-rail and the fencing there on the inside. He's lucky he didn't go through the barrier there. That would have put him, well, let's say it would have put him in a very low down place, and it's not a place you want to end up. Now the big question is, what will these guys do regarding pit strategy? We're 12 laps deep. We're not far into the race, but we're far enough that your field might consider coming on down and taking tires. We'll see this time around, though, as we'll work our way out through turn numbers 3 and 4. See who's all going to come down into pit road, if anybody will come on down into pit road. And we've got a few. Matt Cherry comes in, as does Plute. Looks like pretty much the entire field going to be making moves down into pit road. Save for Ben Mashburn. Mashburn will stay out. He will inherit the race lead in his McDonald's Camry. Meanwhile, Cherry leads them in. Will he lead them off? So all drivers so far down and into pit road. Dylan Smith did manage to make his way around. He'll be into the lane as well. See all the racers in the box, and Carlton Charles only taking 2 tires, potentially fuel only for him. Micah Mooney taking 2. Wishing taking 2. Everybody else taking 4. Interesting call at that. All around throughout the field. All right, so it does get interesting in regards to the pit strategies. Musani is going to remain in pit road. Martin Plute will be the first one out. 15.38 seconds in, 14.73 seconds in the box. That's almost a second quicker than the guys behind him. It does allow to shout out some of the guys that help to keep the lights on here in the in your running here of the, excuse me, of the wow, okay, I'm really sorry. I cannot speak all of a sudden. In your run here of the Speed Cup Series at the Michigan International Speedway. My apologies on that one. That got a bit interesting for me, trying to get all of that sorted here. We're going to be able to get a shout out here for, first off, Beer Street Journal. Beer Street Journal has one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles, millions of unique visitors, and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal is paving the way to enabling category growth, engaging a broader consumer base, and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. Beer Street Journal, the best in beer. You can visit them at beerstreetjournal.com. As well as Maxgrafix. Maxgrafix has all of your graphic design needs, from NASCAR to sim racing, logos, banners, posters, t-shirt design, and other commercial uses. Find out more today at facebook.com/Maxgrafix Design. And last but certainly not least, by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a top-of-the-line barbecue rub. While it may say steak on the label, it is perfect as well for pork, seafood, chicken, and everything in between. If you can barbecue it, Twisted Steel is worth a try. You can find more on barbecueproshop.com and searching up Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by our very own Marty Plute. Shout out to the sponsors that help to keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series, and they are the ones that are bringing you this coverage here tonight for the Speed Cup Series of the Michigan International Speedway. Lights have gone out. It's going to be interesting here to see what's going to happen to Ben Mashburn. I'm willing to bet he's going to be swamped. This has been a running theme in every race so far. There's always one that stays out on a pit call like this. And the reason? I don't believe they can win on the same strategy as everybody else. It's an interesting take. So far, it hasn't worked out. We'll see how it works this time around. Pace car is down and in. We enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once again at Michigan. Mashburn already pulling well, clear the field while they're double file behind. Christopher Darling trying to clear McGill for third, but McGill going to power around the top shelf to the back straightaway. Caution behind and big trouble as multiple cars go spinning down to the bottom. Byrog is among the group that's collected. I could see Stan Hausman further in the back collected as well. I believe it might just be those two cars that got the worst of this here. Ben Mashburn will retain his race lead at the end of lap number 15. Get a look on Stan Hausman and Devin Pyrog here coming around turn numbers 3 and 4. Oh, and it was a bit of contact with the 46 of Pyrog that kicked all of this off. That's what sent Hausman into the outside wall. Well, Devin Pyrog, the one that ended up running them over in turn 2, gets tagged by, I believe that to be Jeff Wyatt. It was Jeff Wyatt. Kind of in the thick of all of this. We're right on board with Wyatt. Why not through all of this? We'll see what he saw throughout this chaos. Ronnie Barnes now 17th as a result of this whole mess, and nowhere to go with the driver of Springville, Alabama. Still able to get himself more or less sorted though, and we'll work our way back around. We're going to. Well, we'll see if we can't potentially get in touch of any of our drivers here. We're going to see kind of what the word is out there on the racetrack. A few drivers coming down and into pit row, most notably McGill, Cherry, Peterson, a whole bunch of the Badger Racing crew, pretty much everybody in the Badger Racing crew. At least those still on the racetrack are all down and into pit road. A few drivers still working their way up and around on the racetrack. It's been an interesting night, I think, for a few of the guys out here thus far. And it hasn't been a smooth start to this race. I think it's worth noting. There's still a lot of drivers that are looking to have themselves some potentially good runs up on the racetrack, but unfortunately, not too many at the moment that have much to write home about as it stands. We will see if we can't get a potential look inwards to the Badger Racing Cam. We'll see if we can't get in touch here with the likes of Grant Peterson, the driver currently running way back in 17th among the Badger Racing crew to come on down into the lane. Grant, this is Nolan Rempel up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, you come down with a whole bunch of the Badger Racing guys. Cherry, McGill, I saw Musada was coming on down as well. It's been interesting, City. You weren't green for more than a lap there. Kind of walk us through what the strategy call is behind that.
Yeah, before that caution, we were right there, a couple laps short of making it there. So, kind of decided on the backstretch to come back down in, top off, just check everything over, making sure we're feeling good. But yeah, now I think we're comfortable. We'll be able to make it to the end from here if it goes green, and we'll see what goes on from there.
What do you think you're going to have to do to fight your way through this field to get yourself back into a race-winning position by the end?
We're just going to have to keep an eye out for the notables that tend to not know what they're doing. Just keeping clean, really. That's really it. It's going to be difficult getting through here without a doubt, but just got to keep an eye out.
Couldn't agree with you more on that one. Well, we'll wish you the best of luck out there so far. It's looking to be a good night as it stands. We'll wish you the best of luck out there on the restart here.
10-4, thank you.
Grant Peterson at the Badger Racing Cam will be restarting 17th because of all of that. Lights are out aboard the iRacing safety car. We'll go green, flag racing. this time by. And I can tell you right now, it's going to get interesting with Ben Mashburn still on those old tires, still leading the way. We did not make it more than a lap last time. Devin Pyrog ended up cleaning the clock of Stan Hausman. So we'll see if it'll be any better this time around. These guys are pretty good for the most part and getting into some long green flag runs. I think once we get past the initial 2 laps or so of carnage, we'll be able to get ourselves sort of right back up at the front. But of course, that could be a very big if depending on how these guys maintain their composure here on this restart. Pace car is in. We'll be restarting this race on lap number 19. As we'll enter the Geico restart zone, we're back underway in Brooklyn. Drew Wiseman powers to third. We're side by side. We're beating doors behind, and we're going to wreck again. Pyrog collected again, back into the outside wall, and he's this time going to be collected by Josh Emerson. Pyrog spins to the bottom, and that's yellow flag number 3. Mashburn's lead saved again. And yet another incident involving the number 46. Get a look from the restart. It's all started back in the midfield here. You see the 73 slow on the racetrack. That is Josh Emerson. Might have been having trouble getting up through the gears. They go 3 wide with the 22 down the bottom, and a bit of a stack up, and I don't think Pyrog quite knew where to go. That's what sent him into the outside wall. And eventually spinning down to the bottom of the racetrack. But again, I think just enough of a gap there that they're able to keep themselves, for the most part, clean and in the green. With all of that in mind, we're going to, I think, take a step back here as it stands in race number 14 of the Speed Cup Series at the Michigan International Speedway. We'll be back with more from Brooklyn in just a few moments.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
lights are out aboard the iRacing safety car. We go green flag racing for lap number 23. It is caution flag number 3, and it's the second time in a row we haven't made it off of turn number 2. We are hoping for better luck this time around. Ben Mashburn maintains his run at the race lead after not pitting on our first yellow flag of the night. Marty Plute is in second. We're exactly where he started. Darling will be in third, Eisman fourth, McDougall fifth, Randy McKinney will round out the top 3 rows. So as it stands, a lot of our incidents have been coming towards the tail end of the field. So we'll see if that trend will continue on or if we'll finally get some green flag racing back into the books here. The last few drivers just catching on up to the tail end of the pacing line at the back of this field, whereas Eisenman will now try to get something sorted. Marty Plute going to be up on the outside line. We'll work back out of turn number 4 to the Geico restart zone. Pace car pulls down and in. And we'll head back to that restart zone. Green flag back up in the air. Again, another solid launch from Mashburn. Powers through up on the high side of the racetrack. Eisman working to the bottom of Marty Plute, trying to fight for second. Work our way off of the first couple of corners. Watch all this scrambling in the background here. This is typically where all of our incidents have come from so far, but we're looking good. And I think we may have just managed to get away with that restart here as we work our way through turn numbers 3 and 4. Oh, speaking too soon, Dylan Smith hard into the outside wall in turn 3. He'll slide to the bottom. No caution though, we'll keep it green. Doug Milliner, meanwhile, side by side, and now Stan Hausman losing a couple of positions as he split 3 wide down the front straightaway into turn 1. So much fighting going on, we'll be able to get a really quick glance back on what happened to Dylan Smith here. This is going to be coming around to turn number 3. Whoa, lost it on the back straightaway. And it's all looking good. Lost it again, coming around through 3 and body slam to the outside wall. Another unusual wreck, but at this point, it's becoming about status quo for Michigan International Speedway here on Green Flag TV in general. Remember back to Jacob Noyes' flight test on the front straightaway just a few weeks ago in the Omar Sorel Xfinity Series. 3 wide, down the back straightaway, McGill in the middle, Charles on the bottom, Branson up on top. Grant Peterson up in front of this group, and Matt Cherry also in the fray. We hightail it back around through turn numbers 3 and 4. Look out for Cherry as Cherry has to pedal it in the middle groove. He's going to pull clear of both Branson and Carlton Charles. And begins to work it down the front straightaway back to turn 1. Up front, Ben Mashburn under fire for the race lead by Marty Plute. Plute trying to work the bottom. Mashburn up on the top, keeping that defensive line going strong. Side by side through turn number 3 and 4. Drew Eisenman wants to chalk another win in the win column, but it'll be Marty Plute to lead his first lap of the race on lap number 27. Behind, Christopher Darling trying to make a move on Eisenman for 3rd. Remember we were mentioning earlier on, draft is everything at a racetrack like this as we work back to turn numbers 3 and 4. And further behind, Cherry, Hausman, Branson, McGill, and Moore. All still locked, line astern. Eisenman makes the move on Mashburn for 2nd. As Mashburn's old tires finally start to kick in. But look at the run that he can get around the outside line. Pinching into 77 as they're going to make a bit of door-to-door contact. You can tell their run is still very much there. Look at the overspeed that Mashburn can get down the back straightaway. clocking in well clear of 190 miles an hour. The racers in this field, Plute's catching up to some lap traffic up the road. Believe that to be the 73 of Josh Emerson. Saw him with some problems in the early running. Plute to the inside, but now there's a lot of side-by-side battling that's got to get around the 73. Eisman going to go to the bottom. Emerson leaves room on the top. He'll let this entire group back down on the low side of the racetrack. Carlton Charles, Doug Milliner, also side-by-side. They hightail down the back straightaway. Phenomenal race we've had so far, though, here tonight in the Speed Cup Series, the Michigan International Speedway out of Brooklyn, and it's only going to continue to get more up there as this race goes along. Charles still working with Milliner. Now they have to lap Emerson. They're still slow, suffering with damage from an earlier incident. Darling making a move for third. Punch just take it up into the podium to get around Mashburn here. To the back straightaway, no contest. Heads up, Josh McDougall going to try to throw his hat into the ring as well. I think this really goes to show just how much Mashburn's holding these guys up, considering Plute and Eisman have built up a second gap, over a second gap, to everybody else in this battle pack behind. And still not looking to be going anywhere anytime soon. On board with Randy McKinney here, working that number 8 spot down to turn numbers 3 and 4. It's a good driver's eye view on what these guys are having to navigate. It is close quarters racing. As it stands, and nobody in this pack is willing to give an inch. How about Graham Peterson also in the fray? He's working to the bottom lane, trying to find his hat. Making up a few more positions. Oh, this is going to get tight here. Coming down the back straightaway. We work down that back stretch. Back to turn numbers 3 and 4. McGill with a bump drive from Matt Cherry. Shoved to the inside of McDougall. As your field works through 3 and 4. The 45 Spotify Camry also in the fray. That'll be McDougall. Trying to work that bottom line still. They single it up on the top shelf, and no one willing to work with McDougall on the bottom. That said, not a lot of love up there for Christopher Darling either. As Holden McGill going to look to the inside. Branson gets loose off of turn 2. Able to save it. Halfway home in race number 14. The fight for the podium remains. And we're 3 wide now in the front straightaway. McDougall backs out quickly. While Darling pinches McGill down, they make contact. McGill pulling clear. 3 wide again behind. Peterson trapped in the middle of the 9 of McKinney on the bottom. The 20 Mashburn up on top as the Spotify machine now gets crossed up out of turn 2. Everybody behind starting to separate, but everything in the front is only condensed. As Christopher Darling works back to turn number 4, he's going to actually back out down the front straightaway to remain side by side with McGill. They rub again all the way down into the apron. Christopher Darling and Holden McGill get the elbows out. Darling tracks McGill back up the hill in turn number 1. Here comes the 9 of McKinney trying to look for the bottom lane. We've still got 20 laps to go. It's not the time to fight like that yet. Darling working to the bottom. McGill back up on the top. No love lost at all on the racetrack between Badger Racing and MGR. And finally, McGill breaks clear for third. Darling will be trapped potentially 3 abreast. Cherry trying to make a move on the top. And they're going to make contact again. Cherry way down to the bottom lane. Christopher Darling going to crash up to the outside wall as is McKinney, and the caution flag finally comes out. Ben Mashburn also collected the 23 down to the bottom. Boy, that got messy in a hurry. As it all comes to a smoky end on the front straightaway. Get a look what happened to McKinney here. Sorry, that was down the front stretch. We'll jump back a bit further. Where did this all start? Oh, they get into the outside wall. No, McKinney sent up into Mashburn. Nowhere he could have gone. Whew. Boy, talk about a headache right there. There's a whole host of drivers collected. What happened to Christopher Darling here is the big question, because he got into it with Cherry here. Tracked up, and Cherry just, holy smokes. Down to the inside. Going to get a ride on board with Darling here. Hang on, this is going to get crazy. Watch how close he gets to the pit wall here. Just about a foot and a half off. And there is the carnage in behind. Saw Ben Mashburn also collected in a big way. Tried to just avoid it and didn't have the time. He went for a high-speed spin down onto the inside lane. We've got a lot of drivers in pit road. Darling will now be the one to stay out and lead a lap. While the rest of this field is down and in for service. Usadi misses the box. That's going to cost him several precious positions on pit road. As out of the pits, it's going to be a race, and Plute able to pit the field. Next field will file out behind. Whew. Well, now we can finally take a breath. We can collect ourselves. I see we have fans and drivers of other series watching on tonight. And to you, I say this. Are you not entertained? Hell of a fight there that we had. They were fighting it out. Like it was the final lap. And personally, I want to get a chit-chat with one of the drivers that was right in the thick of it. We will see if we can't drag down Christopher Darling as the number 11. Found himself right in the thick of everything, leading the race, though, as it stands. Chris, this is Nolan Rebel up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Nah, not right now, man.
Not right now? All right, fair enough. We'll let you get back to work. Well, that's one driver not wanting to talk right now, and I think that that speaks volumes as it stands. As obviously busy trying to get himself back to work. That was. There's going to be, I think, heated discussions after this race on that one. That was something else entirely. As we'll work our way back around the back straightaway. Maybe we can get a chat with McGill later on in this race over what his thoughts are on all of that. But for now, we're 1 to green. And that has got to be some of the most elbows-out racing I've ever seen in the Gen 7 Cup cars. And I'm amazed that lasted as long as it did. I'm amazed Darling took the lead out of all of that. I'm amazed he didn't lose the top 5. It's a shame that we had a couple of drivers, Randy McKinney and Ben Mashburn, that just got kind of collecting this. They were trying to mind their own business. They weren't involved in any of this behind. And, well, We'll see what will come out of all of this. McGill started right behind Darling. I have a feeling we're about to get the gloves off and go for a second bout here. You can feel that tension building in Brooklyn, Michigan. We enter the Geico Restart Zone. Green flag is back in the air. Christopher Darling working through 1 and 2. Plute will block off Eisman up on that top lane. As we rip down the back straightaway once more. Coming to 25 laps to go. Darling immediately down to the bottom, but Plute's going to shoot for that one up on the top lane. Marty Plute will retake the race lead. Up on the high side. And it's not done yet. As Darling struggling for third, McGill trapped on the top. Will we go at it again? Well, they're keeping off each other for now. McGill looking to clear down the back straightaway. But Darling comes up, gets that side draft going. Darling pinching him up, not letting them onto the bottom. Making his thoughts known. Josh Emerson will hit pit road. McGill is able to clear them for third down the down the front straightaway off of 4. Darling still in the thick of Badger Racing teammates here. Grant Peterson working at the bottom. We've also got Matt Cherry in the fray. Single filed out all the way behind. Drew Eisman making a move on Plute for the lead. Eisman could not attend. Richmond had his spotter fill in for him for that race. Now that did not count for official points, unfortunately, to Eisman. But Cameron Rich did put on one heck of an effort there as Darling will lose out down that front straightaway. We're still side by side for the lead though, working down the turns 1 and 2. Eisman tracking the bottom, Plute on the outside. And not able to clear just yet. Eisman still hanging on to the bottom lane. It's Eisen Design, 77 Mustang. Plute trying to pinch him down. They're both going to wash up coming out of turn 4. Eisman clears though, he'll lead for the first time tonight. Anthony Musatti, Tim Branson also in a side-by-side duel. A bit further behind, you've got Milliner trying to make a move around the outside of Jeff Wyatt. Line of the 86 tracking up. And Milliner going to get that run down the back straightaway. Whereas Plute will try to send one around the high lane. Eisenman working with them. Well, working with them I think is a bit of an asterisk on that one. They're not wrecking each other, let's put it that way. Plute back to the inside for the lead down to 1. Stan Hauser, for those curious, setting the fastest lap of the race. That last time by 38.757 for Hausman. We'll see him shoot to the top of the timing charts for the leader for the fastest lap. Running back in that number 7 position. Emerson will leave pit road again after spending about 2 minutes in the box. McGill still trapped side by, well, not trapped side by side, kind of trapped in a bit of no man's land as it stands, trying to get something sorted, and Darling losing major time down to the back straightaway. So something going awry for Darling again. Get a look at this one here. This is coming around through turn number 4. So this is a bit earlier. We're looking for. Oh, lost the back end coming off of turn 2, but what a save for Christopher Darling. Wrestles that number 11 back underneath him. And I think we'd both take some smoked tires at this point over for another yellow flag. Stenhouseman trying to work for the back bumper here, getting up to Josh McDougall. This is the fight for 6th. And behind Milliner, side by side with Branson. Branson looking for that high shove as well. Bit of a bobble from Emerson just in front. Remember, fresh out of pit road. They're going to make contact. Coming out of turn number 2. Miller going to lose out down the backstretch. He'll lose out big time. Loses spots to Jeff White, Rick Wishon. All the while, they still try to work around Emerson, who is 7 laps down. Branson's into the outside wall now. 16 laps to go will be the number when we get around next time by to the line. How about Josh McDougall having to go defensive against Stan Hausman, trying to fend him off on the outside with that run that you can get. Down the back straightaway, Hausman working the bottom, and Michael Mooney in the mix. Got Andrew Masani working just behind this group. They're trying to find some way through, or he's trying to find some way through to re-link up with his Badger Racing crew. And whoa, Michael Mooney coming off the wall with a huge run on McDougall down the front stretch. On board with McDougall, and he has got nothing on that 88 Mustang. Oh, gets him crossed up though there, coming out of turn number 2. That will allow for Musani to go on the offensive now, down to 3. Musadi shoots for the bottom, and he can just try to get clear, and he will! Musadi up to 7th. All the while, way at the head of this field, Drew Eisman continues to lead. Plute still running second. Here comes McGill, though. McGill never wanted to be content with laying back for long in these races. Plute will break sideways and allows McGill to attack for second around the high side, down that long back straightaway. As McGill top shelf. Plute still working the bottom. Cherry and Peterson nose to tail just behind. Eisenman starting to drive away. Less than 15 laps to go of racing. The 14th race of the Speed Cup Series here in 2023. McGill starting to put on the pressure of Drew Eisenman. Eisenman looking on from the rear, trying to keep tabs on where McGill is. He's also still got Plute trying to work to the bottom lane as well as we keep advancing down the back straightaway. And that's a great visualizer of that huge momentum that you can get down the straights, and McGill to the bottom of Eisman. He'll take over the race lead in the number 1 spot. Oh, the bobbles from the bottom, tracking up in turn 4, and Eisman now could get a run. Gonna end up lifting out though, so McGill will maintain his run in the race lead down to turn 1. Now Eisman will fire back to the inside. Drag race down the back stretch. Eisman leaning on the door of McGill, trying to make something work. Eisenman to the bottom. And McGill pushing up the track in 3 and 4. Has to back out to avoid hitting that outside wall, but immediately jumps back onto the loud pedal. And that light foot will carry him back to the lead for 1. Won't be enough to clear, though. Eisman still has the bottom by about a quarter panel. McGill working the top shelf. What can Grant Peterson do? He's in the fray. Eisenman breaks loose. Way down to the inside, onto the apron. He's going to fall from 2nd to 3rd to 4th, potentially back to 5th. Will stop the bleeding, and Matt Cherry tries to immediately get back on the offensive and make a run for 3rd. Oh, he's going to collect Cherry, though, and now slides up. Body slams the outside wall. Heavy hit on the front straightaway. He's going to drive all the way down to the bottom. And we could be seeing another yellow flag. He's going to get it onto the apron, though. And I think this will not be a yellow flag, but that's a day over. A devastating mistake for Drew Eisenman. We'll see him tumble way down to the tail of the field. What a heavy whack that Eisenman took. On board, as this is going to be working to the trying to get one better look on this one here. Take 3, maybe? Nope, don't think we're going to be able to quite there we go. Well, sort of. See all the cars flying up in the mirror, though. It was not a pleasant look for Drew Eisenman. He'll find his way down to pit road. That's a heartbreaker, though, for the 77, and thought for sure that would become our next yellow flag, and it did not. Got it down onto the bottom, kept it rolling. That leaves it now a Badger Racing Podium lockout with less than 10 to go. The fight's still on for these podium spots, though, as Marty Plute will look to the outside, tries to make a move on Cherry. Look out! Peterson loose down onto the bottom. Cherry moves to 2nd. Plute gets up there into 3rd. As Grant Peterson breaks the back end out, coming out of turn number 4. Saves it, though. Keeps that car moving. Six laps left to go this time by. Time quickly running out for Plute if he wants to go for a race win. I think as it stands, it is worth noting that Holden McGill does not have a race win under his belt. Don't believe he'll be able, though, to go for the championship. I have to get confirmation if there's a minimum race requirement. I'm not sure if there is. Matt Cherry, though, similar boat, does not have a race win under his belt. So Cherry would desperately need a good run here to put himself back into the running. Marty Plute has 8 top 10s, 3 top 5s, no race wins, though. So everybody we got on the podium as it stands is going for a win. And it would be their first on the season. Got some battles going on further down the field. This is Rick Wishon and Jeff Wyatt. They are fighting it out for the number 9 spot as it stands on the racetrack just up in front of Carlton Charles. These are for the last 2 spots inside the top 10. And jumping around to some of the battles going on lower down the field. Josh McDougall trying to make his charge to 11th. Already plus 7 on the day for McDougall. Goes to show that he still have a good race overall. Oh, and the yellow flag is out. Caution is out, and it's for Christopher Darling on the back straightaway. That's going to put us, I believe, into green-white checkered territory now. And that is a game changer. Pace car rips out of pit road, and we'll find ourselves under our next yellow flag. Oh, he just lost the back end by himself, and then it fully lost. It spins back up on the back straightaway. And, oh, it's a hard hit into the outside wall. So who elects to pit? Who elects to stay out? Pretty much everybody is going to be down and into the lane for service. Doug Milner stays out. Rick Wishon stays out. Jeff Wyatt stays out. All right, then. Let's have at it with the pit strategies. Who takes 2? Who takes 4? 2 tires stop for Michael Mooney, 9.8 seconds in the box. He's going to jump a few positions up the grid here. Plute only takes 2. McGill takes 4. He'll be the 3rd one out of pit road. McFadden only took 2. So a gaggle of different pit strategies here in this one. We're going to take a quick second to thank again some of the sponsors that helped keep the lights on here while we're under this caution flag period. We'll start it off with, of course, Beer Street Journal. Beer Street Journal is one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and the advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles, millions of unique visitors, and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal is paving the way to enabling category growth, engaging a broader consumer base and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. Beer Street Journal, the best in beer. You visit them at beerstreetjournal.com. And by Maxgrafix. Maxgrafix has all of your graphic design needs, from NASCAR to sim racing, logos, banners, posters, t-shirt design, and other commercial uses. Find out more today at facebook.com/MaxGrafixDesign. And last but certainly not least, by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a top-of-the-line barbecue rub. While it may say steak on the label, it is perfect as well for pork, seafood, chicken, and everything in between. If you can barbecue it, Twisted Steel is worth the try. You can find out more at barbecueproshop.com and searching up Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Plute. Lights go out aboard the R14 safety car. 2-lap dash to decide it all at Michigan. Apologies for the brief cutaway. We are still pacing, though. Don't worry, you have not missed a thing in the few seconds it took to sort things out. And this is going to get crazy here in the next little while. Doug Milner, Rick Wishon, and Jeff Wyatt all did not pit under that latest run of pit stops. Plute is the first one that took 4 tires. Mooney, the first one that only took 2. So this is going to get interesting here. First of 2 green-white-checkered attempts. So if we don't make it around this time, we'll have one more shot. The pace car pulls down and into pit road. 4 miles of racing left. And our lap counter goes from 65 to 66. Green flag is back in the air. Doug Milner still high, does it up and away with the race lead, looking for his first win on the season. Marty Plute picks up second place. Here comes Holden McGill and Rick Wishon, though, trying to track him down behind. There's the move from Marty Plute to the inside, looking to turn numbers 3 and 4. Plute trying to go for race win number 1. Pulls well clear. Can they make it around to the white flag? That's the big question. Sands were crashing behind, and they do not! They are just feet away from making it, but another yellow flag. We'll see so many drivers taken out of the line, and we do it all over again. And there is a lot to unpack. Contact further back, and Michael Mooney, Musati went off the racetrack. Musati, in fact, went into pit road. We'll get a jump back further to look at what happened to Graham Peterson. This is going to be coming off of turn numbers 3 and 4. See Holden McGill trying to find some way through. It got hectic in the midfield. Stan Hauser working the outside. Here comes Peterson. McGill looking to work his way to the bottom. They were going 3 wide. The 74 pinches in the 52, and it was on from there. And carnage on the front straightaway. I believe it was just those two to really get kind of collected in all this mess. Oh, and the 46 flying in. Almost looked like he was unsighted with no idea what was going on up in front of him. I believe that to be Michael Mooney. No, it was not. Potentially Randy McKinney, I believe, maybe? Whatever the case, that's a hefty whack. As far as the 46, and I just didn't know where to go, it looked like. Well, with that all set in mind, we do have one driver we could talk to while we're waiting for this yellow flag to run itself out. We have the 77 standing by of Drew Eisenman, who joins us up here now. And, well, it's not the way you were hoping to have your race come to a close here, Drew. Kind of walk us through what those last few laps of your running looked like.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of maximum pushing, and I just heated up the rears just a little too much. Coming out of 2, got really loose. But, I mean, I had to send it because I figured if I got hung out, then, you know, it's probably going to be the same result. And honestly, with 2 wins already, I really don't care if I finish second or if I finish last. So just kind of maximum push. And, you know, when you're racing some of those guys out there, you know that they're going to door check you coming off the corners, which is pretty much what happened. But yeah, it's going to be a crazy end of this race. This is nuts when those guys stayed out versus guys on new tires. It's going to be fun.
I'm surprised we saw some of them getting as good of a jump as they did, but whatever the case, obviously, at this point, you're looking forward to the next week. 2 road courses, though, back-to-back. Do you reckon you'll be able to come out on top, potentially rack up the win column a bit more?
I mean, it's the goal, absolutely, at the road courses. I think I'm going to have a better shot at Indy than Watkins Glen. I'm not a huge fan of Watkins Glen, but I haven't driven it with this car, so who knows? Yeah, really looking forward to those. You know, anything less than a podium will be a disappointment, but we'll see where our pace is relative to other guys. But yeah, really high expectations for sure.
And real quick here, we are lights out, so I'll wrap this up here in a moment. But we saw, of course, your spotter hop into the car for you last week at Richmond. He was mentioning he's looking to potentially get 1 or 2 more starts under his belt. How do you feel about that betrayal, it would seem, for your team?
Oh, no betrayal. I mean, if he wants to run, I'd love to do it. Cameron and I have been racing for a long time together, so love to have him. He's qualified for the chase. We'll see if he decides to run it or not. You know, if he does, I think he would be a favorite. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to having him run a few more races, and definitely looking forward to this Green-white-checkered. It's going to be crazy.
Well, wishing the best of luck out there next week at the Brickyard. For now, it's a tough luck today, but hey, you're already locked in, so nothing to worry about. Wish you the best of luck in Indiana.
Thanks, Nolan. Have a good night.
You as well. As Drew Eisenman joined us up here in the broadcast booth, was looking to be a contender for the race win here tonight, but unfortunately just did not go his way. Found himself losing control by himself, coming out of turn number 4 and body slammed the outside wall in a huge way. And that's going to send him now way down in this field. But the 4 of Marty Plute will work out of turn number 4. Green-white-checkered attempt number 2. This is the last green-white-checkered attempt we will have. Christopher Darling will hit pit road. He has a penalty to serve. Green flag is back in the air. Already Marty Plute on a good launch, trying to break away from Doug Milner in behind. Milner, remember, did not pit on this latest caution. Plute's just got to hope that he can charge away from Holden McGill. Whoa, we're going to crash it off of turn number 2, though. And that's going to be set for the outside wall. Matt Cherry goes with him. Will this be a yellow flag? It will. And that's the race. Cherry bends it into the outside wall, but Marty Plute will hightail it through turn numbers 3 and 4. He will be the one to pick up the race win at the end of the day, as this race will end under caution. Not the way we wanted to see this race end, but a wild way to see this race end, I think, to put it mildly. It all fell apart on the back straightaway, really. We'll get a look properly back. This is going to be all the way from the restart. Watch Rick Wishon. The Monster Energy number 74. As he just lost the back end, tracked it up the racetrack, and unfortunately nothing Matt Cherry could have done. And the MPI 48 sent into the outside wall. The field scrambled. And that's what we'll see. That number 4 car take victory. Such a shame. We were hoping that it wouldn't go down this way, but unfortunately it has. Regardless, a win's a win, and it is win number 1 on the season for Marty Plute. He will come out of turn number 4 behind the pace car, but finally a winner in the Speed Cup Series. Marty Plute wins it in Brooklyn. One night that we have had here in the Speed Cup Series. We'll get a quick look at your official post-race results at the end of the day. It was the likes of Marty Plute taking up the race win here from beautiful International Speedway. Doug Milner will be down in second. Holden McGill picks up third to round out the podium. Carlton Charles on a new high for him will be in fourth. Josh McDougall rounds out the top 5. Mark McFadden to be in 6th with Tim Branson in 7th. Anthony Brusati was 8th. Stan Hausman and Devin Pyrock rounds out the top 10. But they've got Jeff Wyatt, Michael Mooney, Matt Cherry, Rick Wishon, and Christopher Darling to round out cars on the lead lap. Grant Peterson finishes this race 3 laps down. Josh Emerson 5 down. Reisman did not finish this race at all. He sits 14 laps down. And from there, you've also got the likes here of Randy McCaney, Ben Mashburn, Dylan Smith, and Ryan Dingler was the first driver to be knocked out right at the start of this race. As Martin Plute will burn it down in front of Brooklyn. So as Plute looks to continue celebrating on the front straightaway, we will see if we can't get in touch with some of your other podium finishers. We might have to work bottom to top, and we'll let Marty continue to celebrate down this. So we'll start from the likes of Holden McGill, and we will work our way up. Holden McGill joins us first up here in the broadcast booth, and my goodness, Holden, what a race it was for the entire Badger Racing crew over the course of this race. You were looking for a podium lockout, but then that caution comes out and throws everything up into the air with about 5 laps to go.
Yep.
So kind of at the end of the day, kind of walk us through what that was all like for you, especially considering how heated it was getting earlier in the race.
Well, I was just driving, passing cars, passing everybody about the same. Some people don't like it. They want to get butt hurt, and then things get shady at the end. And that's how it is sometimes.
And, of course, looking forward to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's the first of 2 road courses in this one, and we've seen before you are strong on those road courses. It's looking like it might be a bit more of strung out races there. Do you reckon you'll be able to get yourself with a solid run there to put yourself up at the end?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll definitely have a solid run next Thursday because it won't be here because I'm definitely not welcome anymore, and I don't plan to stick around for that reason.
Well, it's a shame to see you
People
go.
don't like to be
Hopefully.
raced like that, and I hate to miss races that you broadcast because I always enjoy and go back and watching. But that's the way it is sometimes. People get heated, and it's what it is.
Well, it's a shame. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you back at least in the future. Congratulations, though, regardless, on that third place finish. A shame it had to come under the yellow flag. We wish you the best of luck then. Hopefully, whenever we see you around next on the track.
Thanks, Dylan. We'll see you Tuesday.
Zoltan McGill joining us up here in the broadcast booth. We'll try to see if we can't track down Doug Milliner, your number 2 finisher here from Maxgrafix Racing. And he is the driver that ends up picking this one up. It is second place for that number 6 car. And at the end of it all, you lose out to Marty Plute, but still a second place. I'd say nothing to be sad about at all. That's a good finish.
Yeah, man. I just gave it my best. I got in there with like 5 minutes left in practice, did some laps. Just tried not to, run over anybody or get runned over. So, pretty fun little night for me, to be honest.
You found yourself in the thick of a lot of the midfield battles, and the big story for you, of course, was you were one of the few drivers not to pit under those green-white-checkered cautions that came out in the later runs. So your tires lasted all the way from lap 38 right down to lap number 70. Kind of, what was the call there to try to make that move and see if you could make it pull off?
I was just thinking, I got nothing to lose. I miss races every now and then, so I'm not going to have to worry about points. And thought I might have had a shot. And then the first green-white-checkered, I went into 3 with Martin, and I knew he pit. I didn't know how many tires he had. And I was actually kind of shocked everybody. Like, they all pitted. I figured some more people would stay out. And then that thing did not turn at all. And then on the second green-white-checkered, it turned too much and 2, and I got nothing to lose, so I just tried to wrestle it, and I think I got into the 21 a little bit. I don't know. But I just let her eat because I'm not up front very often, so I got to enjoy it.
Well, you certainly looked like you were joining it up there in that number 2 spot towards the end of the race. Obviously, you were right on the bubble spot entering tonight, but this is easily going to propel you far further forward in towards the top 16. Do you have that goal then potentially on making the playoffs in a few weeks?
To be honest with you, I did not know how many people made it. I didn't know where I was in points because I'm probably going to miss next week and the week after that, which I can't turn left then right then left. I can't do that. So I just out here having fun with the boys, just giving it my all for Wonder Bread, and Ford Motor Company. The boys brought a badass hot rod to the track this week, and I'm just lucky to make it happen.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck then potentially in a few weeks when we see you back on the racetrack. For now, though, congratulations on that number 2 spot. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you with a race win by season's end.
Thanks. You do a really good job broadcasting, so thank you for that.
We appreciate that up here in the Green Flag TV broadcast booth. That was Doug Milliner here out of Litchfield, and he's going to take that number 2 spot away. We'll move on down, and that takes us down now to race winner Marty Plute, and it is the first race win on the season, and this one is going to lock himself into the playoffs. That's got to feel good to finally see that Twisted Steel Chevrolet in victory lane.
Yeah, it's good to finally get one. Under caution is not really how you want to win, but we'll take it. It was a good race. I thought everybody up there was pretty. I mean, everybody I was racing with was pretty clean, so I thought it was a good race.
It was a great race indeed, and you were right in the thick of a whole lot of the battling out there. At a track that is so draft dependent, what did you have to do to see if you couldn't get that number 4 car pass through the field and avoiding all the carnage?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's just this is a drafting track that just requires a lot of tire saving. So, being in the lead for 20 odd laps at the beginning helped save the tires a little bit, and then I knew I was going to beat Holden straight up. So taking 2 at the end, trying to get in front of them and see what happens, really kind of worked out.
And, of course, we look forward now to 2 road courses before another Super Speedway race to close out the regular series season. With yourself now being locked in with this race win, is this going to change at all the mentality in which you're going to approach those next 3 races?
You know, I don't think so. The road courses are typically not my thing. I like them. I'm not good at them. So it's going to be kind of the same thing. You know, maybe I can take a couple more chances and not worry about points. But that's basically it.
And, well, we'll wish you the best of luck then, hopefully in the next few races. It's a race win tonight, and it is a spot into the top 16. Congratulations on that win and yourself being locked in. We'll wish you the best of luck next week at the Brickyard.
Thanks. See you guys next week.
That's Marty Plute, the driver out of Collinsville, Illinois, join us up here in Victory Lane. What a run it was for everybody here tonight. And again, I cannot understate how thrilling of a race this was. Once again, the Speed Cup Series does not yourself, of course, that thrilling ride that we're going to be having at the Brickyard 1 week from now. And then, of course, the Watkins Glen International Raceway for our second to last race, and then we end it all out at Daytona. There is so much that is on the line for all of these drivers, and there is going to no doubt be even more emotions picking on up over the next few weeks. It got heated tonight. We'll see what the fallout will be next week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Be sure as well to tune in this Saturday night where the TNGG Truck Series returns for the Blues 150 at the Nashville Super Speedway, and then, of course, to the OMSRL Xfinity Series coming on up 1 week from now. For now, though, here from the Michigan International Speedway, that is farewell. We'll wish you all a happy rest of your week. We'll see you all come Saturday.